Okay, so this is a tough one in a way. I mean, tough not to work with, tough to try to figure out how to address it. So what you would do is, download it, of course. And what I would do is I would immediately trace it. So we've got a really nice, like you said, one color file. So, I'd open it up in Photopea and then just do that blending options, color overlay trick. It's going to be our friend a lot. And then I would export this as a PNG. And then I would save that and put like black, so just take away, just put black, something like that. And then you'd pull it open in Inkscape. And you would just take it and drag it in. So I'm just going to my downloads folder and I'm dragging and dropping it on the stage. And then I'm just going to trace it. And then I'm going to get rid of the image. Okay. So now, I'm using the plus and minus keys on the numpad of your keyboard to zoom in and out. So the basic problem here is like this is really tall, and then we've tried to put text above and below it. So like just, scooting this up is not going to get you a ton of space. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-R with nothing selected so that it's going to like, map around, exactly around it. Okay, so let's get this broken up. So you have the one path, and then you're just going to do Control-Shift-K. Okay, and now we can take this, and so I'm just clicking and dragging around it. And I'm selecting all those parts. So I was really careful to not get any parts from down here and just get the words. And I'm going to hit Control K. And then while I have that one selected, I'm going to name it Red Leg. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. So I'm just going to try to just get the custom coatings. So as long as you get around it all like that, and then I'll do Control K. So Control K. And that's custom coatings. And then we'll do Bellhaven and we'll do the number. And now I'm going to just group this whole thing together. So as you start selecting things, you can kind of start overlapping a bit in your selection. And what I mean by that is like you saw how I just went overlapped when I drew my selection. I kind of overlapped this part. Well, since I didn't select it all the way, it didn't get selected. So you just kind of break these things up and isolate them that way. So now that we've got these layers done this way, let's look at what we can do with this design to make it work better. So it's not centered. It's centered actual dimensions because there's this tip of this crown. But if we put a dot on this stage, let's just put like a little circle, just a little circle here, okay? And let's align it. So you go to Object and you go to Align and Distribute. And let's center that circle to the page. And then I'm just going to click in this ruler and just pull out and just drop my center right there. And so this is a perfect example of something not being centered properly, right? So this is not centered. It is centered absolutely and not based on its weight. So its weight, I'm clicking on the object and I'm just going to use my arrow keys and I'm just, using the arrow keys on my keyboard and pushing it over. So there is the actual weight center of this graphic, and that helps a lot. Okay, so then we got some options. I'm going to take I'm going to get rid of that path that I created. I'm going to take these and select them. So custom coatings, Bellhaven, phone, and red leg. Let's do Control G, and that's going to group them, and then we can name them, and we can call that text. And let's just turn that off. That way we can't get confused by it. And then I'm going to grab this skull and I'm going to do Control-Shift-K again to break it up. And I'm going to be real selective this time and try to draw, I'm going to separate this part. So I'm holding Alt as I draw. So I just held the Alt key before I started drawing. Oh, looks like, whoops. Looks like you have to hold it the whole time. And I just learned that. In Photoshop and other things, you can let it go after you start going, but apparently not with this. Not in Inkscape. Alright, so be real careful. And I thought that was going to select these guys, so I might not be sure I might not know how that tool works. And you learn something all the time, right? So I'm just going to select this part, and then I'm going to have to deselect these parts up here. I really want to get this to be its own object. Okay, I got an idea. So let's select everything that's not that. So I'm just selecting this. So I don't have any of those parts. And I'm going to hit Control-K. And then now I can select more of this, maybe. Yeah, I still didn't get... And then Control-K that. Alright. And then I'm holding Shift and selecting all this. And I don't see anything getting selected up there in the skull, so I'm going to hit Control-K. Alright, so now we got that isolated from that. So now I can just zoom out and grab all of this and hit Control-K. So we're back. We got this separated. So we'll call this, I don't know what those are. Are they guns? And we'll call this skull. So now that we got this all separated, let's turn our text back on. I can't stand the font. It's awful. It just has no style. It's literally just Arial. So I don't know what to say about that. Alright, so I'm selecting the guns, and I'm just going to try moving them up, and I'm just going to start seeing what works here. Yeah, I mean, that might work. Something like this. And then we would need to make them solid to make that work. And kind of struggling with that. Okay, the answer I think is staring us right in the face. We literally just need to get rid of those guns. So we don't have to delete them, we can just hide them. We can lock them. Then we can take this skull and make it bigger. I'm going to hold Control and Shift. That already looks so much better. Okay. We're going to use ChatGPT. I know I lean on that a lot, but we're going to get some inspiration. So I'm just screenshotting that. I literally just said I need a cool font to go with this design. Okay, super cool, right? So I forgot to tell it to isolate on white, and that's alright. We got something really cool out of it. We're going to go open this with Photopea or Photoshop, doesn't matter. And we're going to layer from background, okay. And we're going to put a solid color. Oh my gosh, has it done that alpha? Oh yeah, it's done that horrible alpha thing. That's alright, that's alright. We got this. Alright, so we're going to go back here and we're just going to do new chat. And we're going to add this and say, we need just the text okay, I need just the text, red leg, isolated on white, redesigned to take up less vertical space. A little bit extreme, but okay. We'll take that. We're going to take that into upscale. We're going to upscale it. We don't need much. We're going to open it up in Photoshop and we are going to stretch it because it stretched it and it stretched it too much. So we're just going to right click layer from background, okay, Control T, and I'm going to hold Shift and pull that up. Just make it look more natural. Boom. Alright, and then we'll just save that. And we'll pop that in Inkscape. And it's going to be in our downloads folder. And we'll just drag it in. Boop. It's going to be huge. And we'll just trace it. Boom. 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 Delete. Awesome. And I'm going to hold Control and Shift. And then I'm going to hold Control. Photo P, it's like Control, Shift, and then yeah, let's just turn this text off. In Inkscape, it's Control to like lock on an axis. Okay, and then we're just going to get our align and distribute out, objects, align and distribute, and then center it. So let's look at this and see if we can't just take this and maybe bring it down. It feels like a better use of space. I don't know. I mean, otherwise we need these points of this crown maybe to be like into some of these letters maybe to take up less vertical space because we're trying to make this a shorter design. But I really don't like that down there either. Okay, but I love this overlap. I love this overlap. All right. So now we need to cut these shapes out of the skull, right? So we're going to grab this. We're going to call this red leg. All right, we're going to dupe our skull. And we're going to turn off. We're going to lock this one and turn it off. So we got our skull backed up, essentially. And then we're going to grab this red leg, and we're going to go in. And so I just entered into the edit mode, and I'm going to grab this vertex, and I'm going to grab this vertex, so just the edges, and hit Control A, and select all the way around the outside of those, and then Control C. All right. And then I'm going to turn off exit edit mode and turn off this red leg and then do Control Alt V. Yeah. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a stroke. So we'll give it a stroke. We'll give it some size. All right. So it looks intentional. And then we're going to do path, stroke to path. And that's split it out so that our stroke is separated. And so I'm just going to delete this one because I just need this outer. And I can ungroup it. So what is that? Control U. And this is our cut. And then that's why we got a copy of the skull so I can't lose it. And then I'll just take this and I'll select two of these inners and Control A and then hit delete. So now I've got my chop. And then I'm just going to chop it. So I want to go to object mode, select those two, and then do path difference. That did not work. So maybe there might be difference, but I might need to have them like this. Let's see. Oh, that's red leg. I did difference with. It's cut and skull. Path difference. Perfect. Now I can turn my red leg back on and it's going to look chopped out of that skull. And it looks awesome. You know what? I could have probably gone more extreme, but it's good enough. All right. And now in our text layer, let's turn off this red leg. And then this custom coatings, let's move that up. Let's move Bellhaven up. And let's just grab our whole text layer and let's just shrink it down and hold Shift. And then let's scoop that up. And I lost some room with the skull, but let's make sure that's centered, actually. Align and distribute, center it. And are all those individual ones centered? Are you centered? Are you centered? Okay. So we've cut some space off of it. We might be able to get away with more. Oh, let's just take these and tighten them up. Here we go. So we're going to go in here and grab the phone number, and I'm using my keys, but it's not seeming to work. Oh, I needed to double click into the layer maybe and then select it. Yeah, that's what I needed to do. And then we'll just tighten that up. Yep, and then we can take the whole thing out just a little bit. Why are you not scooching? Yeah. Okay. And now we can export it. Well, you can make it whatever color you want. You can sit here and just change all the colors of the different pieces. So you would just grab like the red leg, and you would make it whatever color you wanted it to be. But you definitely want to design in black and white, on things like this, and then make them whatever color you want. All right, but let's look at our size. So we're going to export this, and we're going to do like 4,500 on the width. Okay, and then we'll just I should have saved it first before I even got on this. I should have done file save as, and I should have called it red leg v2. And I'll just say that things like this, if you do something crazy like this, obviously you have to get the client's approval. But usually when you do something like really cool, the clients are so happy with the change, So now if we open this up with Photoshop and we look at our size and we set our resolution to 300, and we shouldn't have resampled, sorry. We set our resolution to 300, then we've got a 15 by 20, so if we make it 12, it's 16. I don't know if we've done much service here, but that's what I got. That's how I would address this, and hopefully I taught you all the tricks to do anything else that you'd want to do.